dogs are chomping away back there. It's great.
This is live.
This is realistic.
This is how it goes.
Edit version free.
Yeah. Hi everybody, this is Nate from the Kraemer Life.
And Katie.
Also from the Kraemer Life. First of all, welcome back to the homestead. Katie's
Yay!
back.
I'm back. I've been gone a long time.
It feels like forever. We wanted to do a homestead update for the month of March. Yeah, and we wanted to do this in 3 sections. We got Kinsley and Floyd enjoying some snacks behind us. The first section will be what we did this month. Second section
Be kind of our future plans, near term, what we're looking to do in the next couple weeks to month on the homestead. So something to kind of look forward to and what you can expect from us.
Yeah, and then the last part will be going through...
We've got mail.
Okay, AOL.
We've got mail.
All right, so let's get started. Starting at the beginning of the month, March 1st, we hired a local to come out and help us repair the driveway. It's an old gravel driveway that was overrun with mud and dirt, and when it got wet, it became very slippery. So he brought out 35 tons or so of 2-inch gravel and spread it with his skid steer, so that way we could actually get our RV onto the property.
And then another thing we did while Matthew was out is we had him go ahead and create a spot for us so that we could park our RV, because having the driveway and then having a place to park the RV was the first 2 things we needed so that we could get out here.
So 2 days later, on March 3rd, Matthew returned and we had him start clearing the brush around the property, around the house, excuse me. We knew that we wanted the brush removed, and we originally thought we would just do it by hand. And I started doing that while he was working on some other things, and we quickly realized that would take a while. So we just asked him to use his skid steer to clear out, hi bud, to clear out all of the brush and the trees around the perimeter of the house.
On the same day, we also had the internet providers come out to install some service for us so that I could officially get moved out here and work from home.
The next day, we didn't really do any work on the property. However, we did have our property reveal. We did a premiere of Homestead Property Search number 55. This is our homestead. So that was a very fun evening for us, getting to show all of you the property. And then the big day happened. March 5th and 6th, Saturday and Sunday, we
moved.
We moved onto the property. Big day. And, you know, Nate was a little nervous. Speaking in third person here, I was a little nervous about getting the RV actually onto the property, a tight turn into the driveway. Katie wasn't nervous about it. She felt that we had it, and she was right. So it was fairly easy. Few minor hiccups, more so with our being hungry and not well prepared ourselves for the long journey, but we made it and we're here. The following 2 days, March 7th and 8th, are the days that we set aside to get things set up. It was kind of a rough go. We were having some water issues. There was quite a bit of rain those days, and so I did spend a few hours outside with my hammer trying to dig little trenches to keep water away from the foundation. And
I was inside the RV watching him, laughing at him,
hey,
cheering him on. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Go, honey!
Better choice of words. All of that aside, we got things set up. We got water set up to the RV. We got power set up to the RV. So that way you were able to fully work and be a fully functional work from home individual. And we were set up.
We were official.
Yes, we were officially on our official homestead.
Officially.
Officially. On March 10th, this is something that we didn't put a video out on, but I was feeling antsy, feeling like stuff needed to get accomplished on the homestead, but I didn't really know exactly what to work on, and we had a couple bottlenecks on things that we needed to get done, but we didn't have either the right equipment or the right stuff to get it done. So I did what I could do, and I just started clearing some fields. So I took our hedge trimmer and our pole saw that we have, and I just started chopping things down. It's on a path towards the gray barn, and I removed a bunch of bramble that was on the ground that made it really difficult to walk over to there. And there was an area in one of the pine groves where there were some branches that were either broken or hanging down pretty low that I wanted to trim up to make it an easier walking path for us. So I just spent the day just doing manual labor, clearing the field, clearing some of the limbs, and I actually ended up salvaging a couple of the limbs for future projects or maybe just even firewood. So.
Yeah. On March 13th, we had our first friends come to visit, and we got a wonderful housewarming present. The Kraemer life got lucky. So we now are the proud owners of a handsome rooster named Lucky. And I would say he's much luckier here than he was with his previous flock. Our girls have taken to him pretty well. There's a few holdouts, but for the most part, there's no squabbling or anything. They're getting along just fine. And he's doing a good job.
Yep. He's being a rooster.
He's being a rooster. He's doing his things he's supposed to.
Yeah. He hasn't quite warmed up to us yet.
No, he's the only one that doesn't come when we come up to the fence, so we got a little work with Lucky to get him feeling more comfortable around us. The girls will eat out of our hands and stuff, and he kind of stands and gives us the side eye.
Yep.
And he watches. He lets the girls do it, so he knows that we're good people. He just doesn't.
He's just not quite there
He's not
yet.
quite ready to take it out of our hands, I guess. But he's not aggressive at all.
March 14th was our official first project on the 1930s farmhouse. It was a relatively small project, but it kind of fit into trying to keep water out of the crawl space issue that we were having. So I brought Matthew back in. He has construction background experience, and he helped me remove a bunch of dry rot on the eaves. Really? Somebody just laid an egg.
Good job, Karen.
Helped me remove some dry rot around on the eaves of the screened-in porch, and we also replaced a gutter, and so that was really helpful to have that done. And now we have a lot less water heading towards the foundation, thus keeping it out of the crawl space. And then continuing with that work, the next day, March 15th, Matthew returned with his skid steer and finalized and finished up all the grading work around the foundation, so that way water doesn't flow down from the hills into the crawl space. It actually stops before it hits the house and moves away from the house. And so this now means that we can start either seeding for grass, laying down bark or wood chips if we want to do that. We can start doing our pads. So we're pretty excited about that. Now that we have Lucky, one of the issues that we notice is that the coop that we have and the way that we have the roosts laid out in the coop, they were a little bit too tall for him to be able to jump up onto and roost at night. So he had been he would just hit the roof. He would jump up and hit the roof, and he couldn't make it onto the roost. So he was just sleeping on the floor. And so I decided, or actually Katie had the idea to lower the roost. So I lowered the roost by a couple inches, and so now Lucky can actually jump up there.
And Betty Jane probably can too.
Yeah, Betty Jane still decides to...
She likes the ground
She likes the ground, but Betty Jane is the other large chicken that we have, the other Brahma. So now Lucky is roosting at night and does have the ability to jump up without hitting the roof.
Because at first, when we first got him, it's like, what is that noise? I just kept hearing this thud. And then you'd hear all this ruffling, and I'm like, what is going on in there? It's like a big commotion. And then I looked, and I was like, oh, poor buddy, he's too tall. So he was too big of a bird for our little setup. It worked great for our smaller girls, but since he's so much bigger than the rest of them,
Yeah. it needed to be lowered a little bit.
He needed some help.
Yeah. On that same day, I also fixed the latch on the door that we have, only because I'm worried a little bit about some predators in the area. We know that there are coyote on the property. Our neighbors did warn us of that when we moved in, and we do have a couple trail cams on the property, and I do have footage of one being no more than 100, no less, being about 100 yards away from the chicken coop one morning.
Yep.
And so I wanted to tighten up the coop and make it a little bit more predator proof if they got through the electric netting.
On March 19th, I was away for work, and Nate took a little trip over to the homestead and visited our friends Sean and Holly at the Modern Yeoman, and his family was so kind to give us a washer and dryer. Score! I came home to a washer and dryer!
Yep.
Very excited.
Yeah, it was very exciting. It was nice to hang out with Sean and Holly and just spend a few hours out there just hanging out with friends.
No more laundry mats. That's even cooler.
But yes, having the ability to do laundry,
Yep.
fantastic.
Yep. Thank you. So that started a long list of things that Nate's going to cover of all the stuff he did while I was out gallivanting around the country for work. I wasn't really gallivanting. I was doing some hiring events, and I was in Tennessee for a bit, and then I went to California for a little while. So while I was gone, the work did not stop, and Nate continued.
Yep. Hopefully you can hear us over that chicken.
It's like a family event right here.
On March 21st, I decided to take advantage of Katie not being home and not working in the RV to get the RV set up correctly. When we moved onto the property, we didn't level the RV very well. It was really driving me nuts. And so with Katie being gone, I had the opportunity to move it and get things adjusted. And one of the things that I wanted to do was fell a tree that was kind of overhanging where the RV is positioned. And that's because we get really high winds here. It seems to be a pretty big wind tunnel that comes from the west around here. And lately we've been getting wind gusts upwards of 50 miles an hour, which really sways the trees quite a bit. They move around a lot, and it does scare me having a tree kind of overhanging the RV. So I fell that tree, and I moved the RV into a better position where we have a little bit more gravel to walk out onto, and I leveled it front to back, side to side, and it just feels nicer.
And then he put up the extra stability boards that you had made. So when I got home, it was very nice because it was not feeling like you were falling back.
Yeah, leaning backwards.
when you sat in the couch.
Yeah, and without those stability,
you feel every footstep.
Yeah,
so if you're laying down.
Yeah, when somebody walks and you don't have stability arms in place, it just moves. It feels like you're on a boat. So yeah. I got that all situated. So on March 22nd, it was kind of a big day. I started off in the morning sowing our first seeds.
So exciting.
I know. So
with the planters I went and found down the road.
That's right. Yep. Free planters. You
Yep.
can put that on a Treasure Tuesday.
Yeah.
So Katie found some planters. I went out and bought some organic potting soil mix and sowed a bunch of seeds. I think, if I recall correctly, maybe you'll remember, we have kale, we have snap peas, we have chard.
Lots of peppers, onions. We tried to do a lot of the stuff that you could get seeded now or that would take a while to come to sprout. So by the time the last freeze hits, we'll be able to put it in the ground.
That same day, we had exterminators come out to spray for termites, because that did come up on the inspection pre-purchase of the house. And then the big day arrived where we had pods! Our pods from Portland arrived. All of our stuff that had been in storage for over a year is sitting in the pods, waiting to be unpacked before next week when they come to pick it up.
Hint, hint.
Yep. So that was a really exciting and eventful day for us.
Yeah.
I got really excited about that.
Yes.
The next day wasn't such a great day, March 23rd. It was a day full of high winds and our first power outage here at the homestead. And I'm kind of hoping that this is not a common occurrence, but we were out of power, both the house and then the RV, because there's no power to the house, out of power for at least 12 hours. Thankfully, we do have a generator that is powerful enough to power a few outlets in the RV. So I brought out the generator, hooked it up to the propane tank and to the RV, started it up, and it runs for roughly 12 hours on a full 20-pound tank of propane. So I was able to keep it running until power was restored later that evening. I think it was like 1 a.m. in the morning when power finally was restored. So on March 24th, decided it was about time to get those potato seeds planted. 2 weeks prior, Katie and I went to a nursery in town to look for fertilizer and stuff that we needed for our starts. And we ended up buying two 50-pound bags of potato seeds.
Somebody really likes potatoes.
We do like potatoes. We didn't really think through it very well. So we had a lot of potatoes and not a lot of place to plant them yet. So anyway, they sat around for 2 weeks and they were starting to go bad. They were starting to really smell. And I knew I needed to get to them, hoping that there were some salvageable potatoes. So I sorted all of those out, and I would say 5 to 10% of the potatoes started rotting and they weren't any good, but the rest of them were fine. So we have
80 pounds of potatoes.
Yeah, we have a lot of potatoes to plant. And so I went out and bought a couple containers, because we're going to do them in containers for now until we can get some ground broken up to plant them in the ground. And went out and got 3/4 of a yard of compost, of leaf compost, and started planting the potatoes in the containers. We still have a lot to go, so we actually may eat some of them as just food. But yeah, we have a lot of potatoes to plant, and we have a little bit of compost left for our future endeavors. The next day, not very exciting, but kind of exciting, if that makes sense. I set up and used the washing machines for the first time.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I had to repair the drain line for the washing machine. So the washing machine just drains out to the yard, and when we were doing all of the clearing of the perimeter of the house, the drain line was buried under a lot of roots, so we didn't see it, so it ripped out and broke. So I had to repair that and get it to drain away from the house. So I got that all set up, and set up the washing machine, and used the washing machine without any quarters
Nice.
in our homestead for the first time.
Nice.
It was awesome. Which reminds me, the clothes are still in the dryer.
Well, at least they're in the dryer, not still in the washer.
They're not in the washer. Nope.
That'd be gross. Because then we'd be washing them again.
So we have some folding to do. So there's always things that go wrong on a homestead, as most of you know. And this is a fairly minor one, but going back to the high winds, we were continuing to have high winds through the week. And on the 26th of March, we were having a really big, stormy, high wind day. And I forgot to latch the roof of the chicken coop so it wouldn't open up when I last cleaned it. Well, a wind gust got underneath it and just ripped the whole thing off. And so it's not really that big of a deal. I put the roof back on, and instead of putting it back on with the latches, I just screwed it down in the four corners with 2.5-inch screws, because I know now that the latches that we bought when we built the coop
Way
too small.
Way
too small.
They were like little, very small, like jewelry box.
Yeah. Yeah, we chose.
Not,
we didn't choose very wisely.
No, we weren't quite sure. And the roof heaviness, I don't think we realized how heavy the coop stuff was going to be.
So anyway, so I repaired that, and I'll go and get new latches, the proper size latches, next time I'm at the hardware store.
Yep.
The 27th.
Yesterday was the 27th, and I came home If you haven't noticed, some are happy to see me.
All of us are happy to see her. Some
are really happy. Kinsley's not usually like this. She's very happy. So I was gone for almost 2 weeks. A lot still got accomplished. Thank you.
Sure.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
It was fun seeing updates of things I had nothing to do with while I was gone. I was like, oh, he did that. Cool. So let's transition to future plans. We got some of the seeds started. We're going to continue to put some more starts and get some more seeds ready so we do have a decent garden this spring. We're looking to put about 6 raised beds in the next month or so. We have a lot of forest cleanup, so one of the things we wanted to do is get some animals. This weekend we are looking to go pick up our first batch of pigs, and so we are going to pick up 6 pigs total. 4 are going to be for us that we're going to keep. They are going to be a couple, 2 different types of pigs, some mixes, and we are going to also pick up 2 for Sean and Holly at the Modern Yeoman. And then we will be looking to add sheep and or goats later, but we think right now we just need to get the setup ready for one first.
Yes.
We don't want to pull an O'Driscoll experiment and have like everything show up on us. Trying to kind of balance a little bit of preparation here, but I think just looking to put together get some fencing, build a shelter for the pigs, and then we'll be able to determine where we want to put the sheep and stuff. And what's really hinging and kind of making that determination is we have Forrester and some folks scheduled to come out to take a look at our woods, to take a look at what we have and how can we best utilize this homestead, what trees are good, what trees, might be a good idea to take down, and kind of help us with a forest management plan as well. Because on our 60 acres, we do have probably over 40 wooded acres right now.
Yeah.
So we're looking to see where we can kind of thin and clear, where it makes sense for the animals to get started. We already have a couple plans and ideas for that we know. But before we start getting too many animals and just clearing woods, we want to see what we're working with and get somebody with some expertise to kind of help us and give us a little bit of knowledge. We're going to come and have some mulching done and some clear cutting. When we got here, we knew that not all of the buildings were salvageable, but there was a couple buildings that we were really excited to keep. While they did have some help needed, they were still savable, in our opinion. So what we're going to do is we're going to work to at least keep them at current state so they don't get any worse, or we're going to remove anything. So very much what we did to the house, any of the trees that were damaging the foundation, the siding, the roof, the gutters, putting any damage on the structure, we went ahead and got rid of. We're going to do the same thing to our gray barn. So we're going to have somebody come in and help us remove all of the trees that are touching, damaging, pushing against, or dangerous for the barn, and then we're going to clear cut a path to that so that we can get equipment in and out. And that's going to be kind of the first step in that management plan as well.
Yeah, and you said that's for the gray barn.
Yes.
And the red barn does need a little bit of management itself, which we want to do, but we don't have plans on yet. We need to fix a couple of the metal roofing panels and some of the support beams, but we're not sure how to do that quite yet. But definitely needs to happen.
Kind of becoming really good project managers with our project plates. And we're putting it on the list and prioritizing it because we know there's a lot to do and you can get overwhelmed really, really easily if you don't have a good plan in place. So we're just kind of putting the steps in motion because we know we're not going to be able to get to fixing the barns right away, but we know we can at least keep them from getting worse. Yeah. And we can at least maintain them. And then when the weather is to the point where it's going to be a good time for us to do it, and we're not trying to get the foundation cleared and things like that, we'll be able to prioritize that task. We've accomplished a lot and we have a lot coming, So that kind of gives you a preview of what we're looking forward to, but you know us, there's always surprises.
Oh boy.
So we'll definitely, I'm sure that we won't stick to the script completely. And speaking of surprises, when we went to go see our new P.O. box, we were super surprised with some amazing gifts that we just wanted to share and say thank you to everyone who has sent us mail, wishes, and items from our Amazon wish list. So thank you so much, everyone. Let's take a look and see what we got. Because this is all new to me too. We got a card. Really cute card. Oh, with a sweet handwritten note in here from Margaret B. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And she also gave us a very thoughtful gift inside that we really, really appreciate. And we'll have to let you know what we do with it. The Breakfast Club.
So this one came from our Amazon wish list, which I wasn't aware that that's where it came from. So Katie was out of town and I got the mail and I opened it up and there's this really cute, funny, what plaque, I guess?
Yep.
The Breakfast Club, which is a movie that I love.
He thought I ordered it.
So I thought Katie ordered it. So I opened it up and I texted her. I was like, hey, we got it. This is really cute. Well, it turns out it was a gift from one of our viewers. And I didn't get the note that's inside. So we don't know who this is from. And I feel really bad. I'm really sorry. If this is you, if you gave us this gift, first of all, thank you. And if you want to let us know who it's from, go ahead and comment down below. We would love to.
Or send us an email.
Yeah, or send us an email if you want to keep it private. We would love to know who it came from.
Yeah.
And thank you personally as well. But that's really cute. We love it. Thank you very much.
And then we just got this today. And this is exciting. We get to start playing with eggs. And so one of the things that I've wanted to do is I want to hatch out some different types of eggs. And as we start building and experimenting, we'll start with our chickens first. Now that we have a rooster, we'll start seeing what we can hatch out with some of our flock over here. It'd be some really cool variations and mixes, I think, when we're ready for the next step. And then I do want to start experimenting with some different types of aviary birds. So very excited for this. Thank you so much, Daniel K. Really appreciate it. This was very thoughtful.
So this did come with a letter, and I'm going to read it because I know who Daniel K. is. He's a coworker of mine back in Portland, and he's a dear friend of mine. He wrote this message to us that he may not have intentioned to go onto YouTube, but it's going on YouTube.
So beware.
Yeah. We may not do this with everybody that we don't know personally unless you say you want it on the tube. So it says, I'm so happy for you guys. Happy housewarming. I'm going to need a bunch more eggs for my steak and egg diet when I come to visit. Cool. He's coming to visit. But thanks to Lucky and the people at Butcher Box, we're going to have all that covered. From Daniel K. So yes, Daniel, you'll have plenty of eggs and plenty of meat to eat and steaks to eat while you're out here visiting. Can't wait for you to come out and visit. Thank you very much for the gift. That's very sweet of you.
And depending on when you visit, we might have some fresh hogs and you can learn how to process. Put you to work.
Yeah. So thank you everybody who has sent us letters and items.
Tons of emails and lots of well wishes. We get emails constantly. We read them, we respond. Sometimes it takes us a little bit, but thank you so much. We really appreciate all of your well wishes, feedback, encouragement, and suggestions.
Yep. And for those of you that have welcomed us in to East Tennessee via emails, it's been very kind, and thank you very much.
Yes.
So with that, I think that wraps up the March update, and so we'll see you in a month for the April update. But meanwhile, stay tuned for our weekly vlogs.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.